Go.
Hey students, welcome back. We're going to be talking now about roller sets. I want you to I'm going to give you a preview before on this one. I want you to see that this has got pretty short hair. All right, you really don't see any splits. You might see a little one right here where that was taken over to the side. But if you should have splitting, you've gone through back combing. And I want to show you one in particular that possibly could. Right there, you can see that, right? Okay, I'm going to take that out just that little bit. And a lot of people think that this can't be fixed or taken care of. If you take it and you know how to back comb, this time you're going to take the fine teeth of your comb. You're going to bring it to a point because we want this to come together. You're not going to do it on the outside, you're going to do it on the inside till you feel that cushion come in. Once you feel that cushion come in, then you travel out, and this is what I want to show you, how it cleans that up. There's just a scotch of one right there, but not really visible. It cleaned it up, but you have to do it from the inside when you're along the hairline. So I wanted to show you that. This particular mannequin was, everything was triangle bases. Now I'm going to explain the bases to you, because right now I'm telling you it's triangle bases and you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But these were all triangle bases. Keep in mind, along the hairline, that's what you have to do. This is shorter hair. Shorter hair shows a lot more error than longer hair. It just is a natural thing. It's just the way that happens with shorter hair. But you see we gave her a little bit of a side bang, and I just kind of cleaned it up. That keeps trying to come back, so put it over this way. There you go. It kind of cleans it up. It is a mannequin, but understand that with real hair you can't, but do go on the inside of it. This is pretty soft hair as well. So what I want to talk to you about is how are you going to do roller placement? What is a base? And I hope you can see it. Let me get my marker. Here it is. A base is where, let me move this over. I hope it doesn't fall over. A base is where you carve it out. And there's pretty much two different types of bases. A square base, a rectangular, I put square there, but it should be rectangular base. rectangular. And we also have square bases. That means that's the hair that I carve out. Do I want it to be rectangular? Do I want it to be square? Do I want it to be triangular shaped? You can definitely see that triangle shaping in there. Along the hairline, this is your base. What I have just sectioned out is your base. That's the area at the scalp. When you hear it, they take it to the base. Okay, that means the area at the scalp. You carve out a base. You carve out the shaping of roller that you're going to put right here. Along the hairline, the reason we have very few splits right there is because of our base. The reason that one sticks out is because we did it over to the side, so you're going to slightly see that. However, if I did it back, and in just a few minutes you'll understand this a little bit more, it becomes a little bit different. This will be the most difficult part for you to learn. The rest of it just comes easy. So your base is what you carve out. So let's talk about this area here. Let's say that we've chosen to do a rectangular base. Okay, so if we have another rectangle here, do you see that split that can happen? All right, the reason that you do a triangular base along the hairline, there's one, here's another. There's another. See, they're all triangles. There's another. There's another. All triangles coming down. So you see how if I was taking the hair back, this hair would protect it from splitting. Whereas with a rectangular or a square base, they're right next to each other, and then we see that split. It's a straight line. This is a diagonal line or an angled line. So you always want to do a triangle base at the hairline or the perimeter ridge.
Move the mannequin this way a little.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get a better zoom.
Okay. So this is the mannequin I'm going to be curling. This mannequin has already been curled, already been combed out, and it was the whole thing was done in triangular base, the whole head, because it is short. So these are things that you're going to have to practice. When somebody comes in and wants rollers, and no more people don't want them anymore, you're using the curling iron, you're using other things, but there are some ladies that still come in and want their hair roller set. Understand that the base and the way that you do it is going to be done the same with a curling iron, a roller, and a perm rod. All the same. So your base is at the scalp. This is where your base is at. So let's say we've done all rollers. Okay, once the hair leaves the head, so we have the base. I'm just going to write it right here. That's the first step. That's your section. Once it leaves the head, it's called the stem. In other words, the roller is round, so once it leaves the head, it travels around the roller. Stem. And this is more commonly used with pin curls, but it's the same, the action is the same with rollers. The stem, by the way, for your state board, gives the hair direction. That's what happened here. I did it a triangle base, but I moved it over, going to the side. Did you get that, cameraman?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did that here. And even though it was a triangle base, I did it coming over to the side to get that half bang. However, the hair behind it was all triangle based and going back. Same thing with this, everything was going back. So the thing about a triangle base that's nice is you can go in any direction to that base. So I'm going to show you that when I get ready to shape these out into triangle bases to show you the different directions that I can take it. A rectangular base, you can either go backward, forward, or if you have a vertical triangle, front or go back. That's it. The same thing with the square base. A square base, you can go in all these directions. However, you still have those little straight lines. So once you get beyond the stem, the third thing is the circle. So you have your base, your stem, and then finally your circle around that perm rod. Whatever direction you take it is going to determine the finished look. I'm going to do this in the back here on this one. We've got that on the side because we are going to start on the top. I showed you where I'm going to put the triangle bases at. What you're going to have is, let's say that we do a square. Okay, your perm rod size, your roller size is going to be the variable. The largest roller you have is the red one. The direction that you take it is going to be called either on base, let's do it on the side here. Okay, on base, it's going to be this, so let's put a rectangular rod there. It's going to go over to the other side. Well, let's put a rectangular rod here as well. So on base, once we section it, if we hold the hair forward and roll it back, it's going to come back onto its base. I'll be demonstrating that with this mannequin. If we hold it straight up and it comes down, it will come down half off its base. If we pull it the other way and we're wrapping it back, in other words, if we pull it towards us and we're wrapping it towards us around that roller, it's going to be completely off base. This is going to lean way forward before the circle happens. In other words, I'm going to write it down here. On base equals volume. 1/2 off base, less volume. Off base, no volume. And you'll see it when I do it on that mannequin. So let's say that we have a roller here and we're holding it straight up. It's going to come off half the length of that roller. If we aim it towards us, it's going to come completely off, almost the same size. You'll see it in just a few minutes when I do it on the mannequins. But I want you to be aware of it. So you take your base first. You choose what section you're going to take. Do we want volume? Do we want it to really stand up? Or do we want it to lay down a little bit? Or do we want it not to stand up at all, to be completely off? So that's when you end up with like end curls on the bottom. See, no volume. And you'll, like I said, you'll understand that in just a few minutes. So I wanted to put this down for you to see it. Your roller is a big factor. The bigger the roller, the bigger the curl, less volume. The smaller the roller, more volume, but you've got to use less hair with this as well. So you're going to get a lot of movement. You can use more hair with this one, less movement. Those are just rule of thumb with using rollers. Just depends on what you want. Now the thing about it, why use a roller? We can just use our curling irons. Yeah, well, maybe sometimes a more solid curl. Remember, this was curled a few weeks ago. It's still there. If I did it with the curling iron, it probably would not be there as strong. This has dried into its new shape. This is as close to perming as you're going to get. It will shampoo right out and go back straight again. But the point is, longer lasting curls that dry naturally, that's why we have sit down dryers, or you're not going to blow dry it. You're going to use a dryer to put over your head and sit under it and let it dry your hair. The longer the hair, the longer it's going to take. Because once you wrap the hair around the roller, the ends are inside. The hair closest to the scalp is on the outside. So it's going to dry that first, but yet the hair inside. So many times on long hair, we go back and check to see if the hair inside is dried. So especially with, like I said, with longer hair. So these are factors. The direction that you hold it is going to also be a determining factor with the roller set. So I'm going to have, hopefully when we go back, if I have time, if not, we'll have to do it later on, but if time allows, I will make copies of hairstyles, several different hairstyles that I've got. I'm going to erase this because I don't want it to be a deterrent to what I just did. All right, this is in your hairstyling chapter. They don't talk a lot about roller sets because basically roller sets are not fashion right now. Everybody uses a curling iron. Everybody does other things with their hair. I'm going to get this out of the way so it's not in the way and we can see it.
Yeah, bring that one up as much as you can.
Okay.
You got a much better zoom.
Better? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this right now. So how do I determine that I can equally and uniformly do a roller, triangle bases? Well, I'm going to part it off to the side because I want my triangle base to start up at the upper apex. In other words, at the apex line, the upper ridge. Remember, the upper ridge is there. That's where the comb leaves the head. See that? The comb's leaving the head. That's the upper ridge on that top curve of the head. So the parietal line, you got your bang, starts right there. Just draw a straight line across. There's your parietal line, there's your upper ridge. We're going to start it off to the side of the upper ridge. So what I'm going to do, now I meant to tell you too about rollers. One thing that you're going to find in your rollers, you're going to find your long rollers and you're going to find your short rollers. These are for certain parts of the head that you might need. You don't need long ones all over. You may have a small section, but just make sure that you use the same size roller that you're using. If you're going to use a red one and you look at your rollers, you've got both sizes. The best thing to do, students, when you get your box of rollers, go to the dollar store, get a shoebox. You can really see it there, all right? So you can really see, you can organize your rollers and get them done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my larger rollers, and like I said, they come in all different sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my yellow ones because I want some movement in here. If I were to use my red ones, my section would be the same length right here as the roller. So be aware of that. Sorry, my bad, as the roller. You see the width of this roller right there. This has to match with that width. So I'm going to turn it around. It's that wide. So being that I'm using a yellow one, the width can be smaller. So I'm going to take my section a little bit smaller and then I'm going to separate it out. I'm going to follow that hairline and separate it out. I'm going to clip this back so it's comfortable, but you're going to see that pretty much that same width has been sectioned out. See that line? It's the same line here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a triangle base. So this triangle's going here. I'm going to the tip of that triangle. I'm going to come over and I'm going to pull the hair away. If I pull it away, what I want you to see is, and if the hair needs to be really, really wet, by the way, for it to stick. I'm sorry, students, that's kind of rude. But the hair needs to stick to the roller, so you're going to hold it with your fingers. And when it's wet, it's a lot easier, but look at the tension I'm using. All right, so I'm coming across and I'm landing right on it. Do you see where it's on that base? I held it away and brought it up into it. Now, this time I'm going to hold it straight up. This is why. Now, do you see where it travels further and comes down to it? Now I'm going to hold it towards me. This is why I use a triangle base, to show you. You see that it's totally off the triangle. There is no volume here. The volume is created. All of this hair travels back. And all of this hair now travels completely around the roller to be set in. So this hair on this side is standing straight up around it. This hair is traveling around. So when I take it off, it's maximum volume coming back. And you can already see it. The hair's almost dry. Cameraman, would you give me my water bottle? It's by the fridge right there. See it? Thank you. So I want to show you with a rectangular base. Along the hairline, you do want to use triangle bases, just basically if you're going to comb it back, which is what we intend to do with this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the part over, and I'm going to do a rectangular base. And I want to do the rectangular base pretty close to the same length as the roller, so you see how that goes back. Now, could I do this in a triangle that far? Yeah, I could. It'd be a real skinny triangle, but yes, I could. All right, I'm going to wet this because I want it, and it'd just be much easier for you if you wet it, because it'll stick to the roller. So again, I'm going to take it. I want it on base. See, it lands right on it. It doesn't matter. You just bring it in, it lands right on its own base. So you can see that there it is, carved out right there, carved out here. It's right on top of it. That's maximum volume. Let me bring it straight up, which what some people tend to do, and then they wonder why do we not get as much curl or as much volume? And that's when it falls exactly, do you see that's exactly half off. So you get less volume. Now I'm going to bring it towards me. And totally off. There's the carving mark. I'm not directing it. This is just what it normally does. So maximum volume or movement, you want to hold it away from you. It doesn't matter where you're at on the head form. It's the same thing with the perm rod. If you want maximum volume, you want to put it right on top. Some people will say half off base, whatever. It's up to you and what you want. So I'm going to wet this. And I'm going to go ahead and do those long triangle bases for you to see it. But I am going to travel around the head. Okay, so that one is going to go way back over there. And I'm going to come off to the side. Now, pin placement. You want to use your double prong pins, clippies. Clippies, double prong, in other words, two little legs right there. It's going to go into the center of the base, and you've got it attached. Some people like to put it on both sides. Now, this is wide, this is thin. So I'm going to comb that hair back, part it off right there because I want them all to be the same. So if this is thin, now this will be wide and this will be thin. Got a little bit of hair right there. So I still don't want it wider than the rod, than the roller. Use another yellow one. And then I'm going to bring it over. So you can see that the hair behind it will prevent it from having lines. This is, and again, you've got to make sure that you get it right into its base. So now this was wide, so now this is narrow. I'm sorry, this is narrow, so now this is wide. So I want to take it back into it. Again, I'm going to show you that it is, and I don't want it wider than the rod. I want it the same width as the rod, I'm sorry, I keep saying rod, roller right there. Okay, so I'm going to turn it around for you to see that it is truly a triangle base. I'm thinner on this side, wider on this other side. I'm going to hold it away. So do you see where it's kind of a little bit harder because I'm having to hold it on top of the other rollers. So I'm going to hold it, place it at the center, hold it with all my fingers and hold it with tension, and then bring it in, and it's going to land right on its own base every time. Go right to the center of the base, push that in there. Now we know this was narrow, that's wide. Now what do? This is now wide, so you're zigzagging. See it? You can see that triangle base. And again, bring it up. And these can go in any direction as well. They can go forward, they can go back, as long as it's a triangle base. Now that was wide, now we're going to go wide on the other side. And bring that to a point. And you can definitely see the triangle there. Oh, there went my water bottle. I'll pick it up in a minute. All right, and again, you see that they're fitting exactly right on their base because I'm holding it away. I'm gonna, so this was narrow. Okay, that was wide. So now that's, I want to clean that up. So you have a little bit of hair from the other side. Now, if you get those little hairs and so on, then use your single prong clips to get that out of the way. Or else you're going to end up pulling it and you'll have to do that roller again. So you got to see how it's trying to, yeah, it's still got a little more right there. Okay, so those just kind of fell off from that. So this is wide. So now let's say that I wanted, I'm going to show you, actually I'll show you that on the other side. So you see that I'm taking it. Now I've got this very last one to do. That's going to fit over the ear. I can't control this now because see I'm going to have, it's going to be wide on this side, definitely narrow, but it's going to rest. I'm going to go ahead and do it for you so you can see it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the other side, and those I'm going to do coming forward to show you how that's done. Again, get that right in there. That's already done for me. I don't have to carve it out. Hold it up again. Now how am I going to get it into its own base? This is where I make a choice. Do I use a larger rod, the yellow, or do I go one size smaller? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go one size smaller because the subsection is a little more narrow. It's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, I would not use anything smaller than a one size smaller, even if the section was even skinnier than this. There you go. Now, all of these are triangle based. I'm going to turn this around.
It's only a couple of minutes.
Has it been 30 already almost? Okay, so what I want to show you real quick is now I can take a triangle base here, as you can see it, and I can bring it forward. And I can then do another triangle base on this side. Same thing, see this is wide, this would be narrow, and bring it forward, but I would use a shorter rod with the leftover hair. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and close off. I'm going to come back and show you some more on this because all we have is a couple minutes. He's going to get another battery for the camera and stuff, and then I'll show you how to do this side. All right, see you in a minute.
Go.
Okay, students, we're back. Phase one was we learned all about rollers, or as much as we could about rollers, and we learned about the different bases, the angles that you hold them in to either be on base, half off base, or off base. The maximum volume is on base. The maximum movement is on base. So whether you have long hair or short hair, we also learned that your subsection should be the same length and width. In other words, length and no wider on your section for your base than your roller. And you really don't want to take it all the way to the ends because then you end up with these little things that try to fall out and then you end up getting tangled. So you want to stay a little bit in. These little holes kind of are a guide. You want to stay within the last hole on each side on the subsection that you take. What we're going to do here, as you can see, let me show you before. I hope you can see it. We did the triangle bases, and you can see it, possibly you see that some of these are wide, some are narrow, wide, narrow, wide. And you can't see it that well in the front, but you can see it on this side. This is wide, this is narrow, and because of the elevation here, this made a perfect triangle coming up. All right, and I used a smaller roller on the bottom just because the base was smaller. Okay, so what I want to show you how to do now, we're going to use triangle bases. And I'm going to be at the very center apex. We're right at the very top of the head. Very center apex. I'm going to take it, I'm going to create a rectangle, sorry. And I want to create it the same width and about that length that I was telling you on its base. I'm going to comb it back. And then I'm going to, again, make sure it's attached. You can bring the hair to the center. Attach it, see how it's stuck on there because it's wet. Keep your thumbs on it. Stay organized. And you can see that it reaches to those two little holes. I'm then going to take my clip and place it right at the base of that. Now this one is going to be a vertical triangle. Because what I want to show you how to do now is bricklay. So this is a vertical triangle here. Same length as the roller. I bring everything. Gotta find my yellow rollers here. To the center, roll it in, and see I'm holding it with tension. That's not going anywhere. So tension means you hold it tight. And I'm bringing it down to its base. And the clip could actually be put, you could either put it, what's comfortable for you, on the top or the bottom. All right, now I'm going to take another rectangle on this side. This is the clue. This is the hardest part in bricklay perm wrapping. I mean roller setting. I keep saying perms because you do both the exact same way. You could actually do a perm and do it in the style that your customer wants to wear. And you notice I pulled that away and brought it up into it. Okay, now what does a brick fence look like to you? Is it all one row or does it skip where it's got something in the middle there? This is the easiest way to do this is if you start at the apex and then travel either forward or travel back. I'm going to bring this back and I'm going to create a kind of a triangle but yet a rectangle here. Do you see that line? It triangles here, rectangles here, but yet we have some sides on each side. This is a little more narrow. That's because we're going at a diagonal. And when you bricklay, certain areas, because the head is round and rectangles are what? Straight lines, you have to start curving it around. So to do a bricklay, you're going to lay it like bricks are laid on a wall. And this, again, just like the triangle bases, prevents splitting. So see, I've got those two. That's right in the middle. See how that's trying to fall down? Immediately get your single prong clip and clip it up there so it doesn't give you a problem. Be careful where you clip it. Make sure it's not causing an indentation or it's not folding the hair because it will show up. Okay, my other one is almost diagonal, like that. I'm going to make this just a little skinnier. Bring that out, hold it away. And then, with tension, and this is what, this takes practice, bring it in. My clip will go right there. Now where does my next one go? Right here. And do you see where now it becomes again a triangle shape because we're traveling around the head. The mistake that ends up happening is students feel that they all have to be rectangular. No, you make it fit. That's why you learn the triangle, the rectangle, or the square shape. We have to do a triangle base right here. It's a little bigger, but it's still a triangle base. You can see that it's small here, long on that side. And I'm going to bring it up. That's a little wide. Okay, I'm going to bring it up, straight up. Because if I bring it down, it's not going to do what I want it to do. On base. All right? And this is how you do the Bricklay. Now we've got this open spot. We've got these 3 open spots. So we need to put a brick right here, don't we? Straight down. So when you're going, and it's slightly triangular, so it doesn't make it wrong, it makes it a Bricklay. So the Bricklay takes all the different angles when you're putting the rollers in. Now what we're going to be doing tomorrow with this, we're going to do a follow-up video. I'm going to show you because tomorrow it's going to dry. Once it's dry, then you're going to see the amount of curls that you get. Again, all of them are on base, but you see where all these splits are taken care of. Now, have we got more splits here? Yes, we do. All right, so we're going to take this one. Bring it straight up. And then bring it down into it. I did have somebody ask if we were going to be doing this, somebody that was watching my videos. Now what I'm going to do, I need to make a decision here. This is curving around the head. I've got this split and I'll have this split. So I need to open it up in the middle. But what's going to happen here, let me show you first. Let me do this. I'm going to open it up right at the center to keep that split from showing. Let me put that roller in. We have yard people outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it sounds like the HOA has their people out there cleaning stuff up. We have a lot of leaves that have fallen down. Okay, now remember when we talked about the square base? Okay, this is a perfect square base. And this would not take a long roller. So this is just part of you thinking about, what am I doing? All right, how do I do this to make it work? And do you see that smaller roller fitting in there, yet traveling over just a bit to prevent that split? Just that little bit right there. So now we're going to come across. Let me loosen this. I want to tilt the head forward so you can see it. So I need another roller right here to prevent this split. And now what I'm going to do on the bottom, I'm just going to use my orange ones. Not because I want it smaller, but because I'm running out of yellow rollers. And you will too. You will run out of a certain color, so just, you know, this is where you decide what you want to do. Okay, we have a split right there, so we take care of that. Go right in the middle of that square one. And now it becomes simpler to do. So there's no splits at all. And what I'm going to show you tomorrow is how much difference, there's not a lot of difference on the curl size, but you'll see it when we put this together. Now we're going to take it, I'm sorry if my head's in the way, all the way over. Let me turn it so you can see it. And see, like I said, sometimes you have to go at a slight angle, especially on that part of the head form, because it is rounded. And you're doing straight lines. You're doing straight horizontal lines, and we're trying to get them all on base, where they rest directly on top or underneath that roller. So now I would do another one here. We'll turn it around for you to see it. See, there's a split. So I would use a small roller here. Now I'll give you another option that you can do. Hang on, let me make sure that this is good. And remember, with hair this long, is there room for error? Yes. When hair is shorter, there isn't. For instance, if I had a lot of splits, it would show up a lot more on that shorter mannequin. Okay, now here's a solution for the finish that you can do that works real well. Now we are going to take this, tease it up, and go back to that Gibson girl and the French twist. Now see, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little piece right there trying to stick out. Again, single prong, get your single prong clip. I usually put them on there and then I slide it around to hold that in. Okay, so here's a solution for this area. It's really skinny. Could I use a shorter one? Yes, I could. But I can also diagonal it, take it into a diagonal. So this is kind of a vertical again base. And now I'm also curling it vertically. So it's going to slightly spiral down a bit. But once you comb it and tease it, that goes away. Now I'm going to come over to the other side. Again, I have that same thing. And what I can do if I want, if I choose, I can do this one first and finish off with the other one. Take that tangle out. There you go. Hold it straight up. Bring it straight down. How much time do we have, cameraman?
15.
Oh, 15 minutes, we're okay. Got plenty of time. Now you can see this one came out just a bit again.
It is 10 to 1 now.
Single prong clip. Is it 10 minutes to 1?
Yep.
Good grief. Okay, we're going to be starting class pretty soon, so. All right, so this class is going to be a little shorter. This video will be shorter, but you'll see the wrap for the Bricklay, and then on the bottom, instead of using the short ones and creating more, we're going to let it hug the face a little bit, and you're going to find with the longer hair, it's not going to make that much of a difference. With shorter hair, might be a necessary choice. Just depends on what we want as a finished look. And again, I'm trying to find where that base is at. There you go. So you see that there, on any split, there's something underneath it to take care of it. Even when it comes to the sides, we have something underneath it. The entire front was done with triangle bases. So, in other words, we shouldn't see any splits other than this split right here where there's a definite line break. All right, for that to go back, because this is coming in this direction. So if I had taken them down, possibly not. So these are factors. We're going to let this dry. Tomorrow we're going to do the video on the comb out, and we'll be taking it down in front of you tomorrow for you to see that video. All right, have a great day, guys. God bless. We'll see you in a little bit.